Hello everyone and welcome back to another video on the channel. Today I am playing Dark Age of Camelot private server Phoenix. Now this is going to be a little series I do because I just discovered this game and I've recently been playing quite a bit of it. This is something that I've been wanting to do for a while. I've given this server a try in this game and honestly it gives me a EverQuest vibe, and that's something I like because I really liked EverQuest. So let's do this. This is going to be fun. I really enjoyed this game. This is going to be a class guide. Now, I'm hoping that each video will include 4 different classes and what they can do, what they have, and all the different things about them. This is a character I've played before this video, and I have another character. He's a mage of some sort. I forgot. A wizard, that's what it was. Anyway, so I think Paladin would be the best to start off. I'm also going from the start to end, so Paladin is first and Armsman is next. So Paladin is a kind of melee and buffer character class that you can play, and as you can see here, they get like weak cures or heals. They get endurance for power, which power is mana, and endurance is what they use for abilities like this. They get different buffs, like era or auras. This is armor, the armor buff, aura protection. Then you have this temporary buff that's for what says 6 seconds, I believe. Yeah, 6 seconds. And it's even more powerful, as you can see. Then you have this one. Oh, this one. So it's kind of like a combat thing, and they get to 2-hand weapons or 1-hand and use a shield. It's whatever you like to do. And something you'll notice that I think is pretty darn cool is that your money goes all the way through your account. So even if I play a different character, a new character, he'll have this amount of gold. Anyways, so a paladin is very handy in battle, both solo and with other players, because they can take quite a few knocks, as you can see by their HP at level 5, and they can also do really good at buffing their party members. Depending on the occasion, they are very adaptable and they can do whatever you want them to do. In fact, one of the cool things about this game is you can turn a paladin into a damage doer or a buffer. Whatever it is that you want to do, they can do it just fine. Let's just buff me up. There we go. See, I'm doing quite a bit of damage. Now, I know he's green. I could go for Lutith. I believe that's his name. See, I could take all of these guys out with no problem. They don't do that much damage to me because I'm a paladin. And again, something cool about this game is if you want, you can one-hand and two-hand, one-hand or two-hand weapons, and you can switch between the one-handed weapons and the two-handed weapons. I'm not doing that right now because all I have are one-handed weapons but no shield, so it's not a good idea to do that. I'm gonna stick with this two-handed weapon. See, this is a yellow, which is what I'm supposed to be fighting. Let's just buff me up real quick. And there we go. Now, if I remember right, this is a NM-like character, like in Final Fantasy. They are supposed to give you extra stuff. See, now, while he does do decent amount of damage to me, I can always use my two-handed abilities to increase my attack, if you use it. There we go. So a paladin, unlike most mages, can at least handle themselves in combat while being able to heal themselves. And that's something cool about the paladin. Uh-oh. Now, while a paladin can take on multiple enemies like this, they aren't invincible still. That's something that some people think when they hear paladin. Some people think they can take on multiple enemies. That is true in some cases, but it depends on what you're fighting. I could take on all of these enemies here, except for Lotith or whatever, with no problem. See? They're not doing anything to me. See? Easy. So that's something that I would recommend someone playing if they're new to this game. Paladin. That is something I highly recommend them playing if they're new to this game. Paladin is a really good starter class, and they're capable of handling themselves on multiple occasions. There's rarely anything that can take a Paladin down. I consider most of these classes in this server to be hybrids because they can do multiple different things. Now that's an in-game look at Paladin for you. Let's move on to Armsman. Here we are, guys, currently playing Armsman. Now, I'm choosing random names for like every single character now, but that shouldn't affect anything. Let's just see what they get for starters. Now, you don't, from what I know of, all you get is the sword, and you have to use skill points that you get when you level to get anything. Yep. So I currently have nothing. Now, an Armsman is kind of like a Paladin minus the magic. In fact, I feel like they will die quicker than Paladins because they are meant for mostly melee, while Paladins are meant for tanking and buffing their current allies. See, that's something that didn't happen to me on my Paladin. I always won against these Spirit Hounds. See, this is a yellow, and I can't even take it as an Armsman, so that does prove they are weaker than Paladins. Now, that weaker, when I say weaker, I mean, oh, release. Now, when I say weaker, I mean at the lower levels. I don't know about the higher levels or anything because I haven't played that long, but I can't, and I also mean, when I say weaker, I also mean HP and defense-wise. Now, again, that may change. So let's see what the Armsman can do, shall we? An Armsman can use crush, slash, thrust, polearm, two-handed, and crossbows, while shield and parry are kind of like sub things. You do get abilities for shield, but not parry. Now, when it says crush, slash, thrust, polearm, and two-handed, two-handed is totally separate from one-handed weapons. It gets its own category, while depending on what one-handed weapons you choose to use, they get their own category as well. Crush, slash, and thrust have nothing to do with two-handed weapons at all. If you have a two-handed weapon, it doesn't matter if it's a sword or an axe, you won't be able to use these abilities. Now, if you have a one-handed weapon, you can use crush if it's like a mace or something like that, or a hammer, and slash for swords and daggers and stuff like that, and thrust for kind of like rapiers. And then polearm is, well, like it says, these are for polearms. Now, you could technically use these if you want to do like a dragoon type build, but with no dragon, unfortunately. Then you have crossbows, which this is, if I remember right, for damage and accuracy. Parry, the higher it is, the more chance of parrying, while shield, oh, well, I'm missing everything. Shield is for abilities, defense, stuff like that. Now, that's an Armsman. The next one that we need to move on to is Scout. Here we are, guys, with the Scout class. Now, this is an interesting class from what I've heard because it can use stealth. Now, none of these chains, I've looked over all of them except for Safe Fall, and that's cool. And they can use slash and thrust one-handed weapons while using shields, or they can use a bow. Actually, why do I say or? Now, something cool about this game is you can change freely between one-handed and shield, a two-handed weapon, and a ranged weapon with no penalty except for weight. You do have a weight in this game, encumbered right there. So you don't want to carry too much stuff. So they can use a bow, a sword, or whatever, and shield, and they can use stealth, but they can't use two-handed weapons. That's unfortunate, but it shouldn't be too big of a deal. Now, oh, I forgot to check something. So they get a dagger for the starter weapon, so let's go and see how they handle themselves in combat. So, like every other class in this game, you don't just start off with every item that you want, or every weapon or whatever, or every ability for that matter. You have to earn it by leveling. See? No combat, no magic. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't do anything. I mean, just look at this. Now, I'm not going to adjust the HUD for all these characters that I'm showing you. See? They still do damage, and they still do decent damage. So, here we are. I hit level 2 to show you some stuff. Now, it will take a little bit of time before you can get any stealth abilities. There you go. You gotta put 10, or, well, you gotta put a lot of points in before you can get that stuff. So, it's kind of it's gonna take a while. This is a classic MMORPG, but that doesn't mean you can't stealth. See, it says here, Mastery of Stealth increases your movement speed while hidden, chance to hide from other stealthers, and chance to reveal hidden enemies, but it doesn't say anything about you can finally stealth. You can still start putting points into slash or thrust if you want to be like a musketeer, you know, stuff like that. And then shield, let's see, right there, you can put stuff into that. Or archery, you can start putting points into archery, and you can then use critical shot. So it does take a little while for games like this before you can actually get the good stuff or the good abilities or whatever, but it doesn't mean it's impossible. Oh, you also don't want to do that. Don't do that. Just whatever you do, don't fall from that high of a height. Just don't do it. And now let's move on to Minstrel. And now we are playing Minstrel. Now, as the name implies, they are a, well, bard, I guess. They sing songs, they try to make people happier and stronger, they tell of good times, of dragons and woe. They can be pretty challenging to play, though, at the later levels, so let's just see what I get to do. Okay, so apparently they can't use any bard songs, I guess, unless they have the instrument, which makes sense, but you don't start off with an instrument. So basically for the first level, unless I'm not seeing things right, they are going to be like the scout. Just poke some mobs in the face and see how far that gets you. So let's go on to the NPC and see what he has to say about all this. Anyways, so they get stealth, so that's pretty cool. Oh, it seems as if they get something else, distraction. So they get different abilities for stealth, I suppose, than other character classes. So they get slash, thrust, an instrument, different instrument spells. Wow, that's a lot of spells and abilities. So that's pretty cool. But the only problem is it doesn't say anything about shield. You're gonna be stuck with a rapier, sword, dagger, whatever, and the instrument well, ever, I guess. And so they look like a fun class to play. I mean, just pretty cool. Bards are one of the coolest classes I can think of on any game, and they are really fun to play depending on the game you're playing, unless you don't start off with any instrument. So maybe later, maybe one of the mobs will drop an instrument. So anyways guys, thank you all for watching this video. Leave a like and subscribe if you've enjoyed it, because that would really support the channel, and keep your eye out for more Final Fantasy XI, Nasomi, Eden, or this game, more Phoenix content, whatever it is. And comment down below which of these 3 servers you like seeing the most. And have an awesome day, guys. Talk to you in the next video.